And then we start getting on topic, and it's like, dang it, we better start recording because we're chatting about personal stuff, and personal stuff sort of leads to uh,
The good stuff, the good stuff,
the
Paul.
good stuff, the good
Yeah.
stuff. So it brings us around to I guess, the ostensible topic of this, even though, of course, in Harry Potter, I only know the movies, but yeah, it was pretty obvious to see that the visiting professor of defense against the dark arts, that wasn't exactly the character in the movie you wanted to be.
Right. Yeah, it meant that you had a one film contract, really. I mean, let's be honest. Because and again, just to nerd out here just for a second, just so we can fit it in a situation and maybe then abstract out into, our world. That the defensive against the dark arts is sort of in this sleepwalking phase because, Voldemort has been gone for 10 years. And so in that 10 years, there's been a kind of letting down of the guard, a kind of letting, oh, well, do we even really need to teach those kinds of things? I mean, and so you get into all those kind of arguments as to why would you even need a defense against the dark arts thing because Voldemort is gone, right? Or so you think, right? About these issues anyway. And I have, been teaching for the better part of 3 decades now. And I see what you can do with a student in high school, but I know that they're being kind of frog marched into a kind of world that, in certain respects, I feel that I have ill prepared them for because they're going to go to college. And at least the way that I see things, in our various ways, this little corner business, right, is sort of a reopening up of that frame or a reconnecting, maybe, that frame to that which has been forsaken.
Now when Grim Grizz, of course, when Grim Grizz, here we're doing a commentary on Grim Grizz's
Yeah, I
video.
know. Here we are. Yeah,
I love it. I love it. It's a channel of a little over 1,000 subs. And here we're commenting on it like, like we're having a conversation about Jordan Peterson or
the
something.
latest Jordan Peterson drop.
That's right. It's in northern New Jersey.
Yeah.
They were a significant population. And as a young man, the Italian girls were pretty good looking. So
there it is. Yeah.
He had attention. That Americans are weak, they're soft, they're comfortable, that not industrially, but by birth rate. We're just going to send waves of soldiers, human fodder, and they might kill all these poor Russian soldiers, but CW has been pestering me to do more dog fooding. And so this was a book.
And that's why, again, I don't want to sidetrack us here with discussions about the council. We've done that before, but that's not the point of this conversation. It's sort of then the iterations in the 80s, it's just cringe, and all of that. But it was essentially, it sounds to me, it was a sales document. Sorry, it was a sales document. Wait, maybe it's a catechism masquerading as a sales document, or maybe it's a sales document masquerading as a catechism. I'm not sure which one, but it's a sales document. Well, what's the boogeyman there? You know what I mean by that?
I know exactly what the boogeyman was there because of television. Now we're back to Grim Grizzland. Yeah. From the world of Set, Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Frosted Flakes, they're great.
Mikey, he likes it.
Exactly. So relevance, of course, was the word you wanted, indoctrinization.
Yeah. Indoctrination. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
These people were indoctrinated into the Heidelberg Catechism.
I'm not trying to score cheap points here, but I just being very clear about it, right? What spirit are you following? And it would appear that the spirit of, if the summum bonum is liberation, then the summum bonum doesn't, in that iteration, does not seem to have carved out a place for it piety. Right. You have no fruit, right? Yeah. This is
Puritans are coming into the new world, and they're establishing the new Jerusalem. That's what they're doing. Fix in terms of concretize, set. Yeah. We're attempting to set the gospel into this document. And therefore, if we
2,000 years ago shook hands with Peter, with Paul, like the person, and then your mind just explodes. Like, well, what did he do? Did he give him a website? Did he give him a cat? Can you imagine that, Paul? I mean, can you imagine just being a guy like living in Ephesus, let's say, right? And you're going about your business selling fruit or whatever it is you're selling in the market, and you meet this guy. And your first inclination, of course, is like, this is a crazy Jew. Like, what does he have to do with me? And then you listen. I mean, what must that have been like? I mean, talk about charismatic. I mean, that must have been, well, it miraculous.
By a book, you have these. So Dante
Well,
Venegas.
the books are clearly a technology to aid and assist and to
Yes.
flatten the curve, maybe.
That's right.
All right. So that I don't, look, I'm a book guy. I mean, I love books. I see in them a great value, but it's still like there's a kind of a witness that the book kind of almost represents,
Right.
a one-to-oneness.
Right. Roman Empire is still with us.
Still with us, right?
I mean,
right.
when I go down to the Capitol here in Sacramento and I look at that building, it's like, why does that building look like it does?
Yeah. That's right.
The Roman Empire is still with us right here in the middle of Sacramento. This morning before I got on, I was thinking, yeah, what are we going to talk about? Because in many ways,
but by the way, it's hilarious that both of us have that thought. And like, honestly, if we had world and time enough, we probably just wouldn't stop talking for like 19 hours. But anyway, go ahead.
That's when we've been there 10,000 years.
Yeah.
That's what we'll wind up doing. Part of what's key in this little corner is we like talking about differences between denominations, but we like talking about it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I loved visiting you. First of all, this is another one of the little videos that I thought of making this morning. I'm doing these on my membership channel now, just these little cell phone videos, because visiting you, we're doing it through a personal network now. I haven't gotten a book to read all about Catholicism. If I go and visit Kale, I'm also always reading too many books at once. I'm also reading
Social Imaginary.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's where Taylor is so important for me here, right? So that this is a very specific generation in which they know about the New World, and the Gutenberg press has always been a reality. So
I read that chapter. It's like,
yeah.
All of these years of education.
Yeah.
No one ever pointed that out.
Yeah.
As if it was incidental.
Like, by the way, Columbus, Gutenberg, whatever. Let's get back to Luther. Like, no, like they are formed by their social imaginary, just like we are. You would have had a memory of a world without books and without Columbus. So therefore, without, doubling the size of what you thought the world was, let's just say. What you think of as possible and real is radically different.
Yes.
Pivotal. And I called it on Twitter the other day. I sort of called it, it's akin to it's an axial revolution.
Yes.
We know it.
Right. And Portugal, when Columbus, of course, an Italian, goes to Portugal and wants money to go that way, the Portuguese are like, you're out of your mind. Everybody knows there's something over there.
Yeah.
Everybody also knows it's too far.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this. And the Spanish are like, what do we got?
They took a flyer. Like, whatever. Here, take 3 boats.
Yeah. And then suddenly
and that's the thing about curriculums, right? The curriculums are catechisms. And you really need to understand that. And
the same with the urban monoculture. How does the urban monoculture get transmitted if you keep your catechism implicit? In a sense, it's a little easier because, especially depending on what exactly your gospel is, you can keep tinkering with it as you go. And because of basically the perpetual amnesia of successive generations and human beings, you can very quickly forget that, oh yeah. And so okay. So you know what's happening now? There are no books.
Nothing.
There are no books, which means
so it's elective amnesia. And who had been tasked to mind the vineyard,
right,
had pillaged it.
Right.
And when the son came back, to see what was up, they killed him. Off a website, it's okay, ABC, done. No, there's something about doing it, right? There's something about, fighting with, I don't know, Macbeth, or if you just if I just eat the catechism,
right,
like I'll be fine.
Right. idol gets exposed.
Mm-hmm.
And let's destroy that idol.
To what you always talk about with combinatorial explosiveness, right? That in eras in which things are in flux and in doubt, and there's more information that you can possibly wrap your head around it, we're looking for certain technologies that will simplify the game, right? I call these sort of cultural jigs, right? The thin gruel that we were served is not up to the task, and so every sort of trad bro who's on Twitter flaming all the liberals and all the lefties, etc., what they should be worried about is their grandchildren. Don't worry about me. I'm old.
That's what they did in the 60s and 70s. All you need is to order an icon
Yeah,
on Orthodox Amazon.
that's right. That's right.
You just
Monastery
gotta
icons.
get your Peugeot fairy tale.
Fired up I was when I was 23 and thought that everybody was an idiot, and different flavor of
Right.
productivity, bro.
Right. That is the gospel through the gospels. And one of the things that I regularly come to in the gospels is that this dispensation, this age of decay that we live on, only so much can be achieved here.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah.
And now I might be underestimating, I might be a pessimist, overly pessimistic, who knows. Please prove my pessimism wrong. Nothing would make me happier.
That's right. That's corruption. Of which you cannot even see the bottom of. Like you could move things to the side, to the side, to the side all day long and never get to the bottom of that.
Imagine Joe Biden naming archbishops and bishops and clergy in America. Think about that, folks.
Right.
They have,
right.
They don't have screens. Now they can actually read it.
I've got an app for that. It's called a book.
Things that caught my attention too when I listened to Tom Holland was, Hadrian's Wall. Why is Hadrian's Wall the way it is? Because everybody needed material, and why, dress your own stone when you just take it right off all the old buildings.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, no, it's exactly right. That's exactly right. God, that's so good. That's so good. This is why I know I say it all the time. We're all Protestants, right? I mean, this is exactly what I mean by that. Now you can say, or I also say we're all heretics, right? That's what I'm getting at, right? Is that, you're not really being trad, you're really being, in a weird sort of way, a kind of retro progressive.
I think we go all the way back to where we started about the catechism, which is, Kale, you can only give them what you have. And what you have is you. And I think that's really what's at the heart of this corner in terms of this personalism. You are the defense against the dark arts professor.
And I've lasted more than 1 year, so that's good, I guess.
We've got little to lose. I mean,
that's right.
I can talk unfiltered on the internet as a Christian Reformed minister, and if someone decides to go after me, it'd be like, is it really worth it?
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
Isn't corrupting anything down here. There's just not a lot to take.
Because that's where the resources are, right? I mean, it just, it's like, there's a reason why the fox goes to the hen house, because there's protein there.
That's right.
Little sacks of walking protein. Of course the foxes are going to go there, you idiot. It's like,
we don't have a concentration of hens here. And that's part of why
these are not the hens you're looking for.
That's right. Around you. I mean, the kingdom of heaven isn't the kingdom of heaven isn't behind a paywall. The kingdom of heaven made a great meme of it. They have the two lines, the line of people waiting to be loved, and then the line where you can go to love. And there's no line on that door. There's no line at that desk. Right. You have people around you right now who need to be loved, and you can love them. The particular structures and spells and principalities of our age and our place and our moment, that it is almost always the case that saints are made in suffering. What did Peter receive in exchange for his desire to leave his, his fishing business and become a disciple of Jesus. What did that cost Peter, and what did he receive in return?
Yeah.
I mean, he just let's see. Jesus says, "You receive all of these things and persecutions." It's like,
right. Is that on the
persecutions?
list?
No, 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 no. I like my discipleship without persecutions.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's